Welcome back, welcome back to the channel, YouTube gang. I am your host, Major, and this is the Dawg House, where we devote our time, our energy, and especially our conversation surrounding them Georgia Bulldogs. And today, we are live, man. We are definitely live. I know I said I wasn't going to go live that much, and I'm probably not. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's Saturday. I know everybody got things to do, but, come kick it with your boy a little bit. Even if you don't, you can come back and watch the video and see what we talking about live. It's Saturday, y'all. Happy Saturday to everybody out there. I'm not expecting this live to be a big turnout because I haven't been live. People are not expecting me to go live. So I'm not expecting this to be a big turnout. But at the same time, if you join the live, make sure you send me a comment. You know what I'm saying? Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the Dawg House. Well, we just talk real dog talk, man, and that's what this is about. I was planning to come in on some freestyling, just talking about whatever, man. But I saw an article that came up today. I was on my phone just scrolling and seen the article that came up today, and I just wanted to chop it up about it. I'm gonna read it to y'all in a minute, but everybody at this point, when it comes to us, to the dogs, are just trying to just create content at this point. So, nobody has real intel outside of the press conferences that Kirby does, and sometimes they talk to the players or whatnot, but at this point, there's not a lot of intel. I know the intel that we've been getting as far as the fall scrimmages has been very good. I think the first scrimmage, the defense did very well, and then the second scrimmage, I think the offense did very well, which is a good thing for us, man. It's really good to see the fact that, the offense may have not have done great in the first scrimmage, but they came back and answered back within the second scrimmage, and everything is looking up for the Georgia Bulldogs, in my opinion. My humble opinion, everything is pretty much looking up. Nothing is looking bad. Nothing is looking crazy. I don't really have I don't have very many question marks. I think the biggest question marks for me and for most of Georgia football fans is these new starters. We have a lot of new starters, as well as Gunnar Stockton, which is a new starter at quarterback, and I think that's the biggest question mark for me. I said it in the previous video that I feel like he is the biggest question mark on the team. I don't know if anybody else feel that way, but that's just the way I feel. He is the biggest question mark. He is a fresh starter, brand new starter, but he has potential. And I think that if he can be a leader, he can get the job done. Like I say, I expect to see us at least win an SEC championship, or either play for SEC championship. I can't speak as far as the Natty. That's too early to speak on. I know people do their early predictions, but I'm not doing an early prediction just based on the fact that it's just too early, right? You know what I mean? But anyway, man, I'm just trying to talk a little bit. Like I said, I'm not expecting this live to be a big turnout at all. I know people got things to do on Saturdays. You know what I mean? I didn't have anything to do today, so I just want to jump on and talk about a few things that I saw. And let me go ahead while I'm at it, and like I said, leave me a comment, man. If you're dropping off in the Dawg House, leave me a comment, holla at me. You know what I mean? What's up, dog? Whatever, however you want to do it, holla at me. But I read this article, and I can't remember what the website was, but it is a legit website, so that's what made me go to it and read it. But it said, while the starting quarterback has not officially been named for the Georgia Bulldogs yet, it is presumed to be Gunnar Stockton. Him being a starter also puts the Dogs in a very rare situation this year, rare compared to other college programs in the country. While NIL, as big as a factor as it is now in college sports, people want to know how much the players are getting paid, or perhaps how much the players are being paid to transfer to certain schools. Former Georgia quarterback Carson Beck is reportedly playing for Miami this season for $4 million to provide some perspective. When these lists of highest paid quarterbacks in college football are put out, though, one name that you will not see is Stockton. In fact, you likely won't see him included on any NIL earnings list. It's not because Stockton isn't talented enough or worth a lump sum of money. It's also not because he is a first-year starting quarterback. Michigan's Michigan's true freshman quarterback reportedly committed to the Wolves for a deal that exceeded $10 million. Other young starting quarterbacks in college football will be making more than $1 million their first year. So for Georgia to have a quarterback on their roster that likely costs less than average starters, Power 4 program is a bit of a luxury. Why, you might ask? Well, the Bulldogs managed to snag names like Noah Thomas, Zachariah Branch, Elo Mendoza. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. All of them were, well, at least two of them were starters at the programs they were previously at, which is a good thing for us. You know what I mean? It says Georgia's acquisition this year cannot be directly tied to the fact that Georgia may not be paying the typical price for a starter quarterback, but it's safe to assume that it likely didn't hurt the chances to adding some of the players that they did not have on their roster last year. It's not out of ordinary for Georgia to have one of the most talented rosters in college football, but for this season, some of the talent that the Bulldogs is likely a byproduct of who they have at quarterback this season. So in a nutshell, the article is, excuse my reading, but in a nutshell, the article is basically saying that, a lot of programs have guys at quarterback that they're paying $10 million to. And my thing is with this whole thing is I started thinking when I read the article, I was like, man, what if Georgia got some type of formula or strategy that they're using when it comes to recruitment? Because I was thinking, like, while reading it, I was thinking, like, yeah, like if I was a coach, I probably wouldn't put all of my eggs in the basket, which meaning I wouldn't give a quarterback $10 million. Now, no disrespect to Michigan or anything like that, but I don't think that one player is worth $10 million. I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. I don't believe in that, and it's a lot of reasons why I don't believe in paying a guy $10 million. And that's basically because, a lot of things can happen. The player can get hurt. The player can, have a lot of different things going on. I don't know if he can actually transfer $10 million. You better play for us. You know what I mean? But I was thinking, like, Kirby Smart and the coaching staff and just, Georgia as a whole, they may have a strategy of, why not spread the love around the whole team? Like, I'm gonna pay this guy $10 million and have the other players looking like, wait a minute, this guy just came. I've been here for 2-3 years and I'm not even getting paid nowhere close to that. So it's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't personally do it, and I'm hoping that's the same thing that's coming from the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm hoping that's the same reason on why we don't have guys back there, quarterbacks back there that's getting $10 million. Like, I'm sure Jared Curtis got a lump sum, with him being a highly talented and highly recruited 5-star quarterback. But with Stockton and Ryan Puglisi being 4 stars, also Ryan Montgomery also, with those guys being 4 stars, it doesn't mean that they're not worth the money. I just think that Georgia is trying to create something different at the program. I think they don't want to base everything surrounding money, because with an 18, 19-year-old, man, they don't know what to do with that amount of money. You know what I mean? And then with them being so young, they are going to look at the other players in some type of form or way. Like, that's just being how it is being young. I'm not going to consider it being a hater, but they're going to be looking confused. Like, why am I not getting paid this amount? Because another teammate may be just as talented as that guy that you gave $10 million to. He may come to college football and be a bust. You never know. But you gave him $10 million, right? So I think that with Georgia, with them not giving Stockton that amount of money, in which I feel like no player should, but it is what it is, spreading it out makes more sense. If I got $5 million to spread or $10 million to spread, I'm gonna give them $1 million to my quarterback or $2 million to my quarterback. I'm gonna give $1 million to a running back. I'm gonna give $1 million to a wide receiver. I'm gonna give another $1 million to a wide receiver. I'm gonna give $1 million to a linebacker, then another linebacker. So it's best to spread the love, and I hope that's the strategy that Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs are actually using to create this dynasty that we want to create at the University of Georgia. And that's why I said this article was pretty interesting. I wish I could give y'all the website, but I don't have the website. When I put it on my computer. I didn't add what the website was, but I think it's because they got Brooke Austin and all of them down there, so I think it's definitely legit. And it was definitely something eye-opening for me, because when I initially planned to come to this do a live, I didn't plan to talk about this, but it was very interesting to see that Georgia may have something with this one. Why pay players that amount of money when you don't know what they're going to do? You don't know if they're going to get hurt. You don't know if they're going to be as good as you expecting them to be. And then just think about Michigan. Is Michigan really going to win, their conference? Maybe so. Is Michigan going to play for a national championship? I don't think so, but it's possible, but this guy's a first-year starter. He's definitely a first-year starter, so they have a lot of belief in this guy, and they have to have a lot of belief to give him 10. He's getting more than Carson Beck. He's getting more than Carson Beck, and I'm not saying that Carson Beck is just some badass quarterback, but Carson Beck is a damn good NFL-style type of quarterback, and he's only getting $4 million, which is good. Like, I'm not saying $4 million is not a lot, but I'm just saying, how could to me, a more experienced quarterback get less money than a guy just walking in the door? Like, that's gonna make a lot of people feel some type of way, especially the other guys on the team, right? That would make me feel some type, even as an adult, that would make me feel some type of way. If I've been here 2 or 3 years and I'm only getting, a couple of $1,000, and this guy walks in and he gets $10 million, that number could be wrong. That is just an article that I'm reading. That number could be wrong. He could be getting less. He could be getting more. Who knows? These teams are going crazy on recruitment, and nowadays with the NIL, and these guys are willing to pay anything at this point. It seems like to me they're willing to pay any amount of money. I'm glad that Georgia didn't decide to do that. I'm glad that Georgia, and just look at it. We looking at a 4-star quarterback. Everybody in our room is either 4-star or 5-star quarterbacks. So I'll take my risk with not giving him that amount of money. He's already a talented quarterback. So he's already, expected to do what a 4-star is expected to do. So I'd rather take my chances and give him whatever they're giving him. I'm not sure. I don't know the number. I'd rather take my chances with that versus giving him a lump sum of money being a first-year starter. I'd rather take my chances and then give some money to, just like how they did with Zachariah Branch and Noah Thomas and Elo Mendoza. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. But I'd rather spread the money around, and I think that's what Georgia has done. Because defenses win games. We all know that. But you also have to have an offense that can move the ball. You also have to have an offense coordinator that can get guys open so that we can move the ball. So I think that the plan is set. And I think a lot of programs are not, paying attention to this, but this could be a good thing. This could be a strategy, to keep the program, spread the love within the program. I don't think a lot of people are looking at that because they so high on these quarterbacks, and the quarterback is the captain of the offense. I get that, but giving him $10 million or whatever the number is, I don't think that's going to help your offense, especially if you don't have good guys around him, if you don't have the best wide receivers around him. We just picked up two guys that were starters at their previous programs. 2 guys, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, we got actually 3, because I think Zachariah Branch would have been a starter also. But so it's like, for me, I feel like that was the best choice. I feel like that's a good decision. I didn't quite know whether it was going to be a good decision to pick up those guys. But once I started reading into it and started seeing, how well they was doing at the schools that they were at prior to coming to us, I feel like, okay, well, this makes a lot of sense to get guys. Because, a lot of times you'll get guys out of the portal that's not starters. And you got to bring them over to your program. You got to see if they can understand your system, and hopefully they'll actually start or do well, right? But with the fact that Noah Thomas was actually the top receiver over there with the Aggies, I thought that was impressive, coming from Georgia. I thought that was very impressive, and I think that's going to work. That's going to be the formula to work every single year. We're not paying $20 million to a 19-year-old, 18, 19-year-old. No, we're going to give him a little this or that. We're going to offer him if he decides to bite and take it, then cool. He's already a 4 or 5 star anyway. Typically, Georgia don't go for anything less less than a 4 or 5 star. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, no, we're not going to do that. It's pointless to do that at this point. Nah, when I can spread it to the wide receivers, I can give a running back something. I can give a linebacker something, a lineman something. We need interior guys. Like, it's a lot of variables when it comes to being a dominant team in college football, right? So putting all my eggs in one basket is not going to work for the Georgia Bulldogs. Is if I'm the coach, you know what I mean? But that's not to say that I wouldn't, offer a big bag to a player that I really want, right? Dalton Shoulders, hello. What's up, man? What's up, Dalton? I'm just live talking about this situation. Shout out to you for, dropping a comment. I appreciate any and everybody that want to drop a comment and, show love to the channel. If you ain't subscribe to the Dawg House. Well, we devote everything to the dogs. But I'm just talking about this NIL and how I think that Georgia, got a little strategy going. I could be wrong. My opinion could be wrong. But I think Georgia does have a strategy, a nice little strategy. I agree with this strategy to not put all your eggs in one basket on one player, to spread the love, between everybody so that everybody can eat, basically, I think that this is a good thing that he's doing, because I always wondered about Gunnar Stockton at quarterback. First thing first, I want to say that, and this is no shade to Georgia, but Georgia had no other they had no other quarterback to go to. So of course we had to roll with Gunnar Stockton. But like the article states in the beginning, it hasn't been officially named. He hasn't been officially named, but we all know that Gunnar is going to be the starter. But he hasn't been officially named. With Georgia, we tend to take experience over anything. And the fact that Gunnar has more experience than anybody in the quarterback room, I understand why he is the starter. Is he better? I don't know. I'm not sure if he's better than anybody in the quarterback room. But at the same time, I feel like he should be the starter with him having the little bit of experience that he does have. But he hasn't named. But Kirby tend to do that a lot, right? He tend to do that a lot. He won't name who the starting quarterback is from time to time. And I don't know why. I guess with this situation, he just trying not to let a lot out the bag. That's why the media hasn't been a part of the scrimmages. And that's why a lot of guys on YouTube now is just pretty much making up content, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, nobody really had a chance to really see what they were able to do too much in these scrimmages. A lot of people got certain people that they know that may have been in the bleachers watching or whatever, giving their intake on, how those guys look. But at this point, we have to wait, until the 30th. We just got to wait to see what we able to see. And like I said on a previous video, that if we blow Marshall and Austin P out, if Gunnar Stockton is running that offense and putting up big numbers, I am fully convinced that he should be the guy for us. He should be the starter, which I believe already that he should be the starter just based on the fact that he got the most experience. But I just never was really sold on Gunnar Stockton as much as some fan bases is. I'm just not as excited about him. I don't feel like he brought anything or any energy to the Georgia Bulldogs that made me really excited. He had some good plays against Notre Dame and against Texas, but at the end of the day, it's just going to take more than that for me to be convinced that, he's going to be just this great quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs. After seeing Stetson and Carson Beck, it's going to be very hard, in my opinion, to top those guys. And the only reason I throw Carson Beck in there is because that 23 season, my boy was throwing dimes all over the field. So at the end of the day, I got to give him, credit where credit is due. But, like I said, they had no choice but to go with Stockton, being that we had no experience. And, we just got to see what Stockton going to do. Like I said, if he blow these teams out on not on this Saturday or whatever, but if he blow these teams out, man, I'm sold, And I'm not saying that he has to blow every game out, but if you can blow Marshall and Austin P out, then yeah, I'm sold. I'm sold. If it's a close game, I'm not sold, because you think that week 3 and 4 we playing top contenders. So at the end of the day, you gotta blow those first 2 games out. I don't care. That's one thing that I am really serious about. A lot of things I kind of be like, it is what it is, but that's one thing that I'm really serious about. He has to blow these 2 teams out for me to be a Stockton fan. You know what I mean? But right now, I'm just not sold. You know what I mean? So I know a lot of people feel different. You know, a lot of people, I don't know where they get their intel from. I haven't got any intel to say that Gunnar Stockton is just this dynamic, quarterback that can do all things. There's really, technically, let's be real, there's no real information out there about Stockton to that point to make a fan just make it seem like he's just going to be this great quarterback. If you're a biased fan, I understand where you come from, because you're biased. You're not going to, you're just going to be like, oh, since he a dog, then he's just going to be the best quarterback, or he's going to be better than Stetson, or he's going to be better than Carson. But I want him to be that. That's one thing people don't realize when I speak about it. It's not hate. It's not disrespect. I want him to be better, right? I want him to be a better quarterback than Carson Beck, a better quarterback than Stetson. I want to see a quarterback come, to Georgia and be a dominant dual threat quarterback. This is what I've been waiting on for a long time. That dual threat quarterback, kind of like Stetson, but I just want the typical size, typical height, that fast speed. That's what I want to see at quarterback at Georgia. And let me add something too that's not about the topic of NIL and quarterback. Well, Gunner. What's his name? Millender, man. The quarterback Millender. I can't remember his first name. I saw him on a clip of the fall scrimmage. I saw him on a clip, but I didn't see any plays. I didn't see him, and he probably running with the third team, but I still want to see this guy because, I have his highlights on my channel also. So y'all, if you subscribe, even if you're not subscribed, go check out Millender. What is his name, man? Let me look up his name, because I don't want to be wrong. Millender. Yeah, I don't want to be wrong. I want to get his name out there. He's Hezekiah Millender. Y'all go check out Hezekiah Millender's highlights on the Dawg House channel, and which is my channel. Y'all go check it out, man. Dude looks pretty good. He looks something. He definitely looks different. He looks like the different type of quarterback from what we're used to at Georgia. He plays with a lot of confidence, I think, and I think Ryan Puglisi plays with a lot of confidence also. A lot of y'all gonna see, ones that watch me, y'all gonna see that I am already a Ryan Puglisi fan, and I'm just judging by his high school highlights. But I like his stance. I like how he's built. I like like I said, he's a confident thrower. I think he can run. He also can throw on a run, and that's somebody that I'm interested to see in the near future if he stays with Georgia. And don't get me wrong, I'm interested in Gunner also, but everybody got their favorites. You know what I mean? And right now, Gunner is not on the top of my list as for a favorite quarterback right now, but that can really change this season. Like, I hope it changed, because I'm all for the Dogs. So I hope something changed within, this last week. I hope something changes and makes Gunner say, you know what, I'm about to take a strong hold of this team and I'm about to take them all away. Hopefully we have a great season. Hopefully this season is a dominant season. I think it will be. I got faith that this team will be a dominant team. Just watching some of the highlights of the fall scrimmage, it seems like it's going to be a team that's real confident. I see somewhat of confidence in his team, and I think Kirby is going hard when it comes, things that I'm hearing about how Kirby is on in these scrimmages. Kirby is pushing them to the limit. Even though health is a big thing too for us. We want to come into this season completely healthy, and that's what it's looking like. Although we may have some injuries, the starters, everybody is pretty healthy. So it's good to see these players come in healthy because we get to see them play at their highest potential. You know what I mean? Because once they get hurt, they're not going to ever be 100% once they get hurt. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, it's just good to see these guys that's healthy come in and see what they can actually do, see what the potential, and see what I would say, the what would I say? I want to see what this team is made of, like as a fully healthy team. The identity, that's the word I'm trying to use, the identity. If we can see our identity from the jump, because last season we didn't know what the hell our identity was. I guess our identity was just dropping passes. But I want to see us come with an identity from the jump. I don't think Georgia does well when it comes to that. Just judging on the past season, we didn't do well. But if we can get an identity from the jump, from the first game, we can say, oh, this is the point that I'm making is saying, like, the first game, this is going to be a good team. You know what I mean? Like, even though it's Marshall and Austin Peay, we still can see the glimpses in the players to judge whether they're going to be good regardless of who we play. I can see it. I don't know about everybody else, but I can clearly see when or if we're going to be just as good playing Alabama or playing Florida or playing Tennessee or whatever the case may be, right? I can see it. So I hope with these two scrub games, we do what we're supposed to do with the fact that we have healthy players, right? Let me hit the vape one time. That's what I do over here at the Dawg channel for those who don't know. Anyway, man, I'm not gonna stay long because I wasn't planning on going live very long today. I know, like I said, I know everybody got stuff to do. I know everybody out there enjoying their Saturday. I want to get back to enjoying my Saturday. I was expecting to go for about an hour, you know what I mean? But it's no engagement right now, so I can't sit here and talk to myself forever. Oh, excuse me. Can't talk to myself forever, man. So y'all stay tuned for more content from the Dawg House. I am your host, Major, and we out, man. Shout out to all the Dawg fans out